Right, good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, 7th of February. It's 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. in the UK. I've just got to go through a whole little bit of legal stuff, first of all. This webinar is for information and education only. Nothing said, not said or implied is a solicitation to buy, sell, trade, not trade in any vehicle whatsoever. And please be aware, I'm not a registered financial advisor. Right, we've got that out of the way. Quicker than some people that I've heard doing this kind of thing. Great, guys, ladies, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to join me. I don't want to go on for too long, so what I'm going to do is briefly introduce myself to those of you that don't know me. Then we'll go and have a look at a few charts, and I want to try and show how the methodology that I use can make them readable and accessible to anybody, either a novice or an expert. And then finally, I want to just quickly talk about my new website, which is up and running. What I'm going to do so things flow a little bit better is actually take questions at the end, if you don't mind. I want to try and get through things not as quickly as I can, but without stopping for every query that's along the way. Can I just get a little bit of a hands up or something, or people just pop in? Do you know what about Pitchforks? Did you go and have a look at the website? Just get a quick look at what we're doing there at the video? Yeah. Quite a few people did, I think. Some didn't. Okay, maybe you should have, guys. Okay, look, we'll take things through. If you've got any questions, as I say, I'll answer them at the end. First of all, a few words about myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben Drage, and as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm British. I'm based in the UK. A little bit about my background. I read law at Oxford University and started working in the City of London in 1982. There I spent from 82 to 98 in the money markets, all pretty nascent stuff then. It was all fairly new, until in 98 I decided to leave in order to concentrate on my personal trading, and that's pretty much what I've been doing since then. Right, now we've got that out of the way, let's go and have a look at a few charts. See what I mean when I talk about trying to decode the market. The most important thing to me, number one, numero uno, is that charts have to be clear and uncluttered. Okay, when you can see what's going on in them, it makes everything so much easier. So I don't use any of the indicators like MACD, RSI, moving averages, Bolly bands, and I particularly don't use Elliott wave. What I look at, pure and simple, is price. Okay, just price. Fine. The chart you've been staring at for the last few minutes and probably think you know pretty well by now is Aussie dollar on a daily basis. And I guess that what you can see in front of you makes sense to most people. You can see where, for example, support is along here, down here, down here. You can see where the resistances are as well. Okay. In short, it's the kind of chart you could probably look at and trade with a little bit of confidence. Let me just show you the same chart without the pitchfork on it. That's exactly the same. A little bit more difficult to put into perspective, I guess. And what I want to do is just draw a few lines on it. I mean, people come into this in a normal way that you look at technical analysis. They're looking at horizontals, they're kind of drawing horizontals, they're sort of doing this. Not bad, support there. Oh yeah, we got support there. However, it's not doing a huge amount for us. To my mind, using pitchforks, we can get a lot more nuance, a lot more detail out of what we have ahead of us, and that is just purely price, by going and taking a pitchfork. And the pitchfork works very simply. You go from a low up to a high, down to a low, and that gives you 3 points that you work your pitchfork off. This one here, not too bad. You can see a little bit of resistance there. You can see a bit of support there, but lo and behold, we're out and beyond. We use different types of pitchforks. The one that fits here is this one. It's called modified shift. We're still using the same points, A, B, and C. And all I've done, just by tilting the pitchfork slightly, I'm giving us a little bit more idea of what is happening. Price moved underneath the lower parallel. Don't really mind that. All I'm doing with that is I'm just adding an outer quartile that's equidistant to that. Okay, I'm just building up a bit of a pattern, and also just inside that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw some lines across here, supports and resistances. See what we can find there. Let's just adjust these down into place. There you go, supports, resistances. All of a sudden, the pitchfork, a couple of lines, it makes an awful lot more sense, or it does to me anyway. What I mean when I'm talking about there being a lot more nuance is we don't just use the main pivots of the pitchfork, the lower parallel, the upper parallel, the median line. That is what classic pitchfork technique does. I don't like to do that. I think you can get a lot more nuance, you can get a lot more detail, a lot more trading ability by just running the pitchfork as the path of price, and that's something that you'll hear from me quite a lot. Path of price. What we're doing is we're describing it. We're putting lines on it. We're giving it we're looking for the channels that are running. Okay, very quickly, just go through what's happening on this chart. Let's go in a little bit quicker. As you can see, we had all this support along here. This is a daily chart. It broke. Where did price fall to? It fell down to the lower parallel. That was probably where we were going to anticipate the next price, the next support. Moved to the upside, we ran into resistance along the quartile. That's all pretty much horizontal. Oh, sorry, not horizontal. Pretty much in the line of the fork. Fell down again through the lower parallel. Where do we find support here? Next likely level, which was going to be the outer quartile. Okay, price moves to the upside. I'm not going to go through all the too much detail on this. We move up to resistance at the green sliding parallel, pretty much anticipated, given it had been support back here. We fall back a little bit. We've pushed back up above it, and now, having spent 10 days or so underneath it, pushed up above it quite high, we've come back down, looking to see at the moment if we're beginning to pick up support. All right, so all I'm saying is just by going through things like this, and I'm going to take these lines away one by one, we just get a little bit more detail. If you had RSI, MACD, all over the place on that, I just don't think it'd be as precise maybe. Okay, what I want to say, I guess the way to put it is the holy grail of trading. What every single trader wants to be able to do is to find likely areas of support and resistance. And when you've done that, you can trade it with confidence. And that's really why we look at charts. Why we don't just look at numbers on a screen. We look at charts because we're looking for patterns. Our brains are wired to respond to patterns. So when we see a pattern in a chart, we feel much more comfortable, and we can trade with confidence with that. Right, you're probably sick of the Aussie dollar by now. Let's go and have a look at the Japanese yen. This is Japanese yen on a daily basis. Going back to 2014, again, classic charting techniques. You're going to look for lows. You're going to run lines across. That's not bad there. Move up. What do we got here? We've got lows. Let's run. Hasn't really done much there. Again, let's move up a little bit higher. We've got some highs, quite nice head and shoulders. Yeah, we moved down off that. What about this? What about what's going on here? Let's start again. Let's take a pitchfork. We'll go down here. We'll go from a low. We'll go up to a high. We'll go down to a low again. Bang. Let's get rid of it. Okay, put it back on again. What we've got using these pivots, A, B, C, not only have we found support, you can see the way that we notice price being slightly higher, a little bit above the horizontal, and each time rising up, and then we've got this big move up here from 101. We found precisely where it was going to go to, the median line. That is 101 up to nearly 119, 1,800 points through November to January, 1,800 points. Okay, take that away again. How you left? Would you have known that this was the place to take your profit? If you'd got long down here because you saw, I don't know, maybe a little upsloping line here that maybe you kind of got long on, where would you have taken your profit? Would have been parallel there, maybe there? You would have missed out on that entire move up. So just as I say, by putting on these lines, and then we start looking inside it. We start, this is the chart that the members have been seeing. Having found that resistance here, we were looking for supports and resistances in the line of the fork again here. What we're currently looking at, it's got a little bit messy, but we've had this line across here, the support, we've pushed up, come back down, we've now fallen underneath it, and we're looking to see if resistance continues long here. 112.92, that's our line in the sand. As long as we're underneath 112.92, we're looking to see if price is going to move further to the downside. It's just taking things off the horizontal. Okay, I'm not looking at the horizontal anymore. We're looking at the angle, the path of price, the way price is moving. So whether really you're a newbie, you're new to charting, whether you're a seasoned professional, remember that when you see that pattern in the chart, and I mean by that this pattern, it's very, very easy to see what's going on. We're just adding a few frames of reference. It's like, I don't know, the panes of a window. You're looking through the window, you can see what's happening. We've got solid straight lines, and price is moving along those lines, not horizontally. I really don't like looking horizontally, but in the angle of the fork. You can see this line along here, the median line. You can see that, tacked it, got the price completely perfect, resistance, down we fell from that. And if you weren't looking at a fork, if you weren't looking at a pitchfork, you would never ever have got that. Okay, anyway, just wanted to say that whether you're new, seasoned professional, when you can see the pattern in the chart, you can understand what is happening in the chart. And when you can understand what is happening, you can trade much, much better with it. Now, I said that I was going to go and have a look at ES, so let me go and do that. Let's go and have a look at ES on the 60-minute. I'm going to play the same game here, guys. Okay, this is a 60-minute chart of ES running late December through January. Classic charting. What do? We take some highs, we put a horizontal line across, take some lows, put a horizontal line across. Great. Okay, really helpful. Not really showing us what's going on beyond. So what I'm going to do here is just add a little bit, add a pitchfork to it. I'm going to get rid of those lines because they're a bit in the way. I'm going to take my pitchfork tool again. I'm going to go from a low down here to a high, and I'm going to move over to a low down here again. And you can just see what's beginning to happen. Yeah, look, we found a median line. We found a bit of resistance there. We fell. We kind of worked along the lower parallel, but not great. We use different types of pitchforks. I think I mentioned that. I'm just going to change that to something called a modified Schiff. Okay, I'm still using the same pivots, A, B, C. I've just moved the handle, the angle that the fork's in. All right. I got to admit, I haven't drawn this absolutely perfectly, but so let me just try and fiddle that around. There you go. Let's have a little look at what we got. Just by drawing that fork in, I'm beginning to put all the moves that are happening here into a kind of context. Okay, I can add to that. We can go across here, little sliding parallel in the line of the fork. You can just see that resistance, 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 resistance. Down we go. Draw another one. Where should we go? Let's go from there, little high there. Let's look at that. See if we get any kind of. Actually, that's even better. Go from this high. You can see we've found support. This sums up, this shows you much better what is happening in the ES. Just by putting a few simple lines, not on the horizontal, in the angle of the fork, in the line that we're running in, not only do we find the upper parallel, the resistance there, we find when we come down, we start dipping, we dip to the lower parallel. I mean, how close did we get there? 2264 is my line, and the low on that is 2266. No, it's not. Yes, 2265. Couple of bucks out. I can live with that on a 60-minute chart. But not only that, we get more nuance. It's not just the upper parallel, the lower parallel, the median line. By running sliding parallels along here, we can run into expected, anticipated resistance. You can see what happens. Going to get a little bit more technical here. Look at these highs, all in the line of the fork. You see this one here? Didn't quite make it. Okay, it wasn't quite as strong. Having found our support down here, we didn't quite make it to the upper to that upper parallel to that sliding parallel there. Didn't quite have enough strength. So when price comes down, I'm a little bit wary about this sliding parallel support here. It worked as support previously. It hasn't worked. It is not necessarily proven as support now. The reason being because the high was a little bit lower. Not in horizontal terms, it was a little bit lower in the line of the fork. So there's a bit of a gap to resistance there. I'm just looking to see if price is going to dip a little bit lower than this sliding parallel support. Knowing what's going to happen now, we're going to have an announcement come out, and the ES is going to go to 2400 and make me look like a complete fool. But hopefully that's not going to happen. I'm just trying to show you the little nuances that we use, even on the 60-minute chart. It didn't quite reach resistance here. We're going to see if it falls a little bit lower. I might come back to this and just check it a little bit later. They say never work with children or animals. Maybe live charts should be added to that, but I don't know. We'll see how we go. Right, Guys, there are a few questions coming in. As I said a little bit earlier, I'm going to leave that to the end if you don't mind. Okay. Another chart I said I was going to look at was Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin daily. Somebody said that this was really impossible to chart, that no matter what you did, that you just couldn't work it. I don't know. I guess that's what most people do, just run that line there and say that looks to be running quite nicely. Problem was, we move well above it. I don't know what happens there. Do we find resistance there? Again, I guess a lot of people are going to be looking at that. And what about this down here? I mean, why did it go down there? Let me show you. Pitchfork again. We go from a low up to a high to a low again. And that pretty much covers what's going on in the pitchfork. We've got a little bit of a move above the upper parallel. So I'm just going to put in an outer quartile like I did with the Aussie. And you see that pretty neatly catches it. But what about this down here? Well, let's go and have a closer look. All I'm going to do is I'm going to run a sliding parallel. That's one of those internal lines just along there in the line of the fork. You can see this series, I don't know what's that, a month of support pretty much along this line, all showing really good action along that line. This tells you there's something going on. You know, if you can get that amount of support in a line for that long, anybody that looks at channels will tell you there's something going on there. Okay, so we find that there's something going on. When price dives from whatever this was, 1170 or something, all the way down to this low 745, what were we doing? Well, price came down. You'd think maybe we get a bit of support at the median line. Well, you know, we came down to there and we moved up. We came down, found support there just for a little bit. Okay, then we moved through it. Where's our next support? Green sliding parallel. Okay, we've picked that up. What's going to happen next? Well, unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen next. Anybody that tells you they do know what's going to happen next ain't telling the truth, because they don't. And if you believe them, that's not too bright. But what I will say is there are some areas I'm going to watch. One of them is going to be this long bar here. You see this one here? All I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a line off that high. Just keep a watch there. When you see a really big bar like this, or like this one here, that tells you that there's a bit of force behind it. Okay, in the same way that there's a bit of force behind that bar to the downside. Yeah, took something to get through the median line, strong line. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to run that there. I'm just going to say this is a potential place where we might find a bit of resistance, 1071. Okay, if it happens here, it's going to be at 1100. We've got an upsloping line, not a horizontal. We'll see what happens. If price moves through that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look probably not at the upper parallel, because it really didn't do anything previously, but I'm going to look up at the quartile, right about 1188 here. Now, I'm not saying price is going to 1188. I mean, for all I know, tomorrow it might move to the downside. And what we would say as a result of that is, okay, look, we put a little line across there. We found that. We started moving to the downside. I can't tell you the future. What I can do is I can show where there are likely supports and resistances. That's Bitcoin. Let me go and have a look at another one. I wanted to show the Aussie index. Again, you know, this is a weekly chart of the Aussie index going back to 2009. Nice and easy to see what's happening. You know, we can get our horizontal lines cross like that. You know, yeah, that works quite nice. Bearish beneath it, bullish above it, that kind of thing. Again, let's just try and get a bit more nuance into that. We go down to a low here, up to a high, down to a low again, and once more I'm just going to change the angle of the fork from an Andrews fork to a modified shift like this, and there you go. That is a little bit neater what you can see. You can see we've picked up support along the lower parallel of the fork. We moved slowly higher. The quartile across here, resistance for quite some time. We moved up eventually, hit the upper parallel, fell down, lower parallel. You can see all this support along here, and then we moved up. Where do we run into resistance? At the median line. Okay, I've actually not drawn this absolutely perfectly, so let me just move over. This is the same chart, but I had the time to draw it at leisure, should we say, so things are a little bit more exact. And you can see the kind of thing that we're looking at, the lower parallel support, the upper parallel, the median line here, all the support along here, all the support along here. When price moves up, because of the action that we've seen along this line previously, this is where we look to see if there's any resistance. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Price moved up to that resistance, touched it, and started falling away again. I just saw one sign. Pete has said, can you use this on all time frames? Yeah, Pete, you can. It basically works. I was going to show you actually from a 20-minute chart up to a weekly chart. In fact, let me go and do that now. Let me just go up to weeklies. Where are we here? What do I want to see? Euro yen, where are we? There you go, Euro yen. This is a weekly chart of Euro yen. Okay, big blue fork to the upside, goes back to 2001. Okay, A, B, C, really nice. The thing that gives it this validity is this line here. It's not even the median line. Okay, it's the fact that we have this peak and this peak bang in line. Okay, they're absolutely in the same line. They're telling us that we're following the movement of this fork, that the path of price is exactly shown by this fork. So when price was up at 149, the end of 2014, I've been waiting. I was waiting all the way through this until we got down to the lower parallel. And that took until summer 2016. But, you know, it got there. It got there from 149 all the way down to 111. Massive, massive difference. Massive move. The weekly chart here, as you can see, we've got support all the way along the lower parallel here. Bar after bar after bar after bar. What did we get from there? We got to move to the upside. Where did we get a little bit of resistance? This sliding parallel. I'm going to go in a lot closer here. Can anyone tell me why I chose this line to draw a line off? Big bar. Yep, you got it. Thank you, Pierre. Absolutely right. Peter. Gosh, Peter and Pierre, you're not the same person. Okay, Peter and Pierre both put in at the same time big bar, and that's absolutely right. Remember what I said on the other chart? When you see a big bar, it means something is happening. When you get a big reaction, it means there's a bit of support, there's a bit of resistance, there's something pushing it. So when price started moving up from this lower parallel here, this is a weekly chart, remember, so we're from about 113 here. When we moved up to 124, you know, that is 1100 pips. Where do we expect resistance? Or where do we anticipate resistance? Along that sliding parallel. So when we felt we touched that and started falling away, no big surprise. Okay, we're just using the nuances that that these charts can give us to well, you know, to make money, which is basically what we're here for. Right, that's a weekly chart. Let me go and have a look. I said I'd have a look at the 20-minute chart. Let me do that. Oh, actually, hang on, sorry, that's the euro. I was just looking at this one. Again, 20-minute chart on euro, just running quite nicely. Upper parallel, down to the lower parallel, and now around about the median line. Great. This is the DX, the dollar index. Let me just expand this. Let me just show you again a little bit more nuance. Here you can see we've basically got a red fork to the downside. My up forks are blue, my down forks are red, usually. What we've got here is we've got some slightly higher lows in the line of the fork. Okay, I'm not talking horizontally, I'm talking in the line of the fork. So our initial lows, hold on a sec, let me just show you these. Our initial lows are down here beneath the lower parallel. Okay, we move on a little bit, we find a series of lows here at the quartile. In terms of the fork, we're not down here, we're up here, we're a little bit higher in the line of the fork. At the same time, our resistance from being here, sort of midway between the quartile and the upper parallel, our resistance is beginning to move a little bit higher. You can see it's up here at the upper parallel. In fact, we even pushed up above. But this is where we're seeing our resistance. Your support rises, your resistance rises. Price is very simple, really. It needs room to vibrate. So if it doesn't have enough room from the downside, it's going to push to the upside. Okay? Support rises from down here to here. Resistance rises from along this line to the upper parallel. So that's something we've been following, okay? And here again, you can see support rising yet more. From the quartile, it's now up here pretty much to the median line. So So all I did was draw a blue fork to the upside when we started seeing this beginning to move, and lo and behold, we're beginning to capture price. We're beginning to see the blue fork, the support of the blue fork, whether it's down here at the quartile or just beneath it. Let me draw a little line across here to show you. Just trying to make that visible. There you see the support that we see there is just helping price move through the resistances. The resistance of the red upper parallel. Let me just take that down a bit. There you go. The resistance of the red upper parallel, the resistance of the green sliding parallel. You know, when we pushed above, we just drew a line in the line of the red fork down here, and it's, you know, it's close to showing us resistance. It's not absolutely perfect. This was the line was at 129, and the high of that was at 137. So you've got 8 ticks. Again, I can live with that. Okay. But the power of the blue fork, the strength that we're seeing in that is helping us move higher and out of the blue fork. And out of the red fork. So, you know, we start to follow what's going on in the red fork. We're getting a bit of validation. You can see a spike high. Really nice. Caught that absolutely perfectly. Down we come again. Up we go. Where do we expect resistance? Upper parallel. That's pretty much where we found it. And now we're drifting to the downside again. Where am I going to look for my next support? Well, you know, those of you that know about pitchforks, or those of you that have seen my webinars before, will probably know I'm going to look exactly where I looked before, and that is along this Puce line along here. So I'm going to look to see if we find support there, 99.94. I'm not saying the price is going to go there and immediately is going to go back up to the upper parallel. That, I don't believe that is what forks do. Some people that use forks will tell you that this is what they look to do. Price meets the median line, it's got an 85% chance of getting to the lower parallel. Forget it. Doesn't work like that. All you're looking for is likelihoods, supports and resistances. If price comes down, find support at the median at this Puce sliding parallel. I'm going to watch to see if it gathers pace, if it starts to move up again, and then I'm going to look to where it goes to. If it goes to the upper parallel, we're maintaining strength in the fork. If, on the other hand, price comes down to here, or actually, in fact, if price moves lower, say it moves down to the lower parallel, and then starts moving to the upside again, I'm going to start looking a little bit lower. Maybe this peak, you see just under the quartile? Maybe I'd look under the quartile to see if that's where the resistance moves to. So what I'd be looking is to see if resistance, instead of being up above the upper parallel, is now just a little bit lower here. And that is just, all we're doing is we're building up a picture of what is happening, of how the moves are going on with the likely supports and resistances. Right, somebody called Goldbug44 has just, every sort of 3 minutes, it seems to have just written gold into questions. Let's go and look at gold. God knows what he's doing to his finger. Okay. This is gold. This is gold on a daily basis. All my annotations are off on this. And let me just say before I go through this, I'm not showing you absolutely everything that the members are looking at, because that's just not fair to them. Okay. I'm going to show you some stuff. I'm going to keep some stuff secret. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is look at gold coming, how we've moved to the downside since these highs up at 1379 or so. We tracked price all the way up using forks, started coming to the downside. Let me just draw one in. I guess most people that are familiar with forks will probably have seen this. Let me just get it precise, because it makes a heck of a difference. Okay, and as I say, red forks are what I like to use for down forks. This is what we've been looking at on daily gold for quite some time. You've got the highs that we got up here, 1378. You're starting to see a series of lower highs. You can see the way the upper parallel here has just ran beautifully with this with the resistance that we have here. The resistance 1346, you couldn't get any better than that. Where did we fall to? We fell to the median line of the fork, 1245. We edged our way up again. This big bar here is the November election. You might remember that gold shot to the upside, then reversed very, very, very strongly. In fact, we got a move from 1338 all the way down to 1124, and look where that is, the lower parallel. I mean, you know, could we get more perfect than that? I don't think so. Having said that, this is something that a lot of people have been looking at. A lot of people have been looking at this fork. They were saying, oh, the reason we're bottoming here, the reason we've bottomed is because of the lower parallel. Well, yeah, okay, I can give you that. I'll agree with that in part, but it's never that simple, is it? One of the forks we've been looking at was a longer term fork, and this isn't the principal one we're looking at, but look, let me just draw this. I've drawn this little mark just to remind me, because I can guarantee that I would have drawn it from the wrong place if I hadn't done that. There you go. Just got a little fork in there. Just look at what we have here. We've got a little bit of action. The lower parallel of the fork. This is an up-facing fork, one that we've been following for some time. Not only did we have the red fork to the downside, we had the confirming blue fork to the upside as well. So, you know, price has pretty much nailed this. I mean, you know, it's difficult to go much closer than that. The low of the fork that we got there, reading off my screen, is 1124.3. The red line is 1123.9. The blue is 1121.8. That's, you know, within a couple of bucks. I think that is acceptable margin. All right. So what I'm trying to show here is the way that the pitchforks don't just show us things in one direction, but they can show us in more than one direction as well. And what we've been doing, we've been picking up another fork. And again, here's where I get a little bit tricky. This is another gold fork to the downside. You've got this same red fork. I'm just going to get rid of that for the time being. You can see just down at the bottom here, you can see this very exact touch on the red fork. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that so things are a little bit clearer. And I'm not showing you all this fork yet, but this was another fork that we've been following. Again, if you remember, as price came down to the lows, what did we find? This is our warning line. You've got the upper parallel, the median line, the lower parallel, and then equidistant down again. We just extrapolate it once more. You've got what we call the warning line, and we got an absolutely bang on touch there. We got a reaction. We came, touched it again twice. 3 times we touched on here, 1128. We started to move to the upside, and then we start looking at where what comes on next. We spend a bit of time looking at the quartile. You can see there's just a bar of support there, a little bit of resistance there. So this is a line of support and resistance. Once we get above it, you can start seeing we're getting support, we're moving up. Where do we move to? The next line, the lower parallel. We push back down, pick up support here at the quartile, not down here at the warning line, higher at the quartile. That tells us that there's still some strength left in this move. We move to the upside. Where do we go to? Lower parallel, absolutely bang on. Fall away from that again, just a couple of days. But the strength that we've seen, and also using shorter time frames, 240 minute, 60 minute, 20 minute, we're following this move to the upside. We try and work across time frames to build up what we're seeing. And lo and behold, yesterday we had a really strong day. We moved up above this lower parallel. And I said in daily analysis to the members this morning, look to see if this lower parallel, prior resistance, we move through it, does that become support? So far today, 1129.6, bang on, that is the low that we've hit. Do we continue to move to the upside? I don't think that, well, let me put it like this. As long as we stay above this lower parallel, as long as the resistance has turned into support, let me just indicate that. You've got support there, you've got resistance there, there. As long as we stay above this line, 1129.6, I think that we are bullish in terms of gold on the daily basis. I may have a different view on 20 minute, 60 minute, 240 minute, but just looking at this chart as it is, that is how it looks to me. Just one thing I want to say there, using different time frames, you never will get price changing from bullish to bearish on a daily chart without it first doing so on a 240 minute, a 60 minute, a 20 minute. Okay, you start seeing something bearish in 20 minutes, that leads on a little bit later, you start seeing that same bearish look in 60 minutes, you start seeing it again in 240 minutes, then it comes to the daily. Okay, you're not going to see something bearish on the daily chart without it being there on the 20 minute before you. So we try and work across time frames to try and get, should we say, a more detailed picture of exactly what is going on. Right, I'm going to go and have a look at silver next. Let's just remember where we are down here before I do so. We're sort of the middle of December is where we got our lows here. Okay, let's go and look at silver. And silver on the daily, again, I don't want to give everything away here, but let me just do a little bit of a shortcut. You can see what happened. Silver fell from these highs. We followed it all the way down using different charts, 240 minutes, 60 minutes. Where did it bottom? Middle of December, bang on the lower parallel here. I mean, this is, we were seeing what happened in December. We saw what happened in gold. We can see exactly the same thing happening in silver here. It's beginning to step to the upside. I've taken a lot of annotations off this chart, but just one thing I wanted to look at. You see the sliding parallel across here? Yeah, we caught the low here, but then we started move to the upside. The fact that you've got support there, support there, support there. For a few days, if I go in a little bit tighter, you can see we've got a bit of resistance there. So until we stepped up, until we moved a little bit higher from this low to the next low up here, a higher low, right? You couldn't start looking at silver in a bullish fashion. And when price moved above this resistance, okay, when we finally did move above it, we started finding support there. Price started to move up again. We're actually seeing a similar thing happening now along the quartile. We're beginning to move up a little bit. You can see the support that we had on the quartile back here. A little bit of support, you know, quite subtle here. Maybe it's too subtle for a daily chart. And then again, a little bit of resistance. Okay, finally we shoot above it. We start to find support. I'm now looking to see if 1735, the quartile, is continued support. As we move to the upside, what's the next place I'm looking at? On this chart, I'm going to run that line across there. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Maybe there as well. Support across here. We've fallen underneath it. This is the next place that I would look on this chart for resistance, 1808. I'm not saying I'm not even saying we get there. If we turn turtle, price goes down. I couldn't foresee that. Nobody could foresee that. But what I'm saying is that this is a daily chart. You would see that happening on something like the 20-minute chart beforehand. If price continues to move to the upside, I'd be looking to see if we get some resistance at 1808, 1807, that sort of area. If we move above that, do we come back down? Does this line become support as it was back here again? All we're doing is we're building an up picture. What I'm not doing is saying we're here at the lower parallel. If we hit the median line, we're going to hit the upper parallel. I'm not saying that. Okay, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's a lot better to try and filter those kind of thoughts through looking at shorter time frame charts. Guys, I'm just going to put you on hold a sec. I'm going to get a slurp of water. Hang on a sec. Okay, right. Let's just that is, I think, a quick spin through some interesting charts. And let me say that I hope for some of you that are more used to lagging indicators like RSI or MACD, and let's face it, those are actually derivatives of price. They're not actually price themselves. Maybe for you, it might have been a little bit of an eye-opener how we can actually try and project forward to find those likely areas of support and resistance. And that really is what Forex Analytics, us, that is what we're all about. Trying to produce clear and uncluttered charts, and also to show high probability, low risk entries and exits. Because once you, as I said earlier, you can put a pattern onto a chart, you can then start to understand the chart, and in turn, you can then successfully trade it. Okay? So, if you like what you've seen, or if you want to find out a little bit more, please go and check out the website. I'm sure you know the address. It's www.forex-analytics.com. There are some more videos there. There's a bit more information. And if you think that the methodology can help you with either your trading or your investing, please think about giving the analysis service a try. Okay, I don't run a trading room or anything like that. I won't say to you buy here, sell there, or anything like that. What I do is I give you detailed analysis on a daily basis. We've got two services. One looks solely at precious metals. The other one is a more general one which covers not only the metals, also forex, commodities, indices as well. For both of them, there are daily video analysis. It comes out. I'm in the UK, so it comes out in London time. daily video analysis where we look to try and highlight moves and also the key areas to watch through the next session and also in the coming days. We've also got chat rooms where you can post your thoughts and also where I tend to update things during the trading day. I mean, I guess a lot of you know me from Twitter where I don't know, I post maybe 10 charts a day or something. Probably post something like 60, 70 charts over the course of the day into the chat rooms, and obviously with a little bit more commentary on that as well. Also, the other thing that we do is we have a couple of webinars, live webinars each week, where we try and look at some key charts and also try and focus on what is happening a little bit more. Guys, I'm not much of a salesman, but I hope you found this interesting. If it does interest you at all, please go and have a look at the website. We've got a special offer at the moment on for new members. You can get 1 month's access to the full service for $50. If you like what you see, I hope that you'll stay for longer than just that first month. But if you decide it's not for you, all you have to do is let me know within the first 2 weeks of your membership, and I'll give you a full refund of that $50, and that's absolutely guaranteed. Okay. So there we go. I hope I've given you some idea of what it is I look to do. Basically, I'm just trying to simplify the charts and put the moves that you see in the various prices into an understandable and therefore a tradable context. And I think the methodology has great benefits for whether you're a trader, whether you're an investor. And I appreciate that for many people this might be a little bit of an eye-opener. It might be a little bit out of the mainstream. But there's a quote that I like which says, if you want to have a better performance than the crowd, then you have to do things differently from the crowd. And hopefully that is what I've shown you that we try and do. And hopefully you guys might want to try and find a little bit more out about it. Right, I'm going to have another slurp of water, then I'm going to go and have a look at some of your questions. Hang on a second. Right, okay, there are quite a few questions coming in. Usually get this one. Which program do you use the Pitchfork? I'm using something called Ensign Charting. I'm using eSignal feeds. CJ is saying it's in MetaTrader 4 it's very difficult. Yeah, I know. The only thing I would say is just use the best charting package, use the best data feeds that you can for your level of trading. Okay, I find that Ensign is really good. It costs, I think it's about $35 a month. The feeds I use are something like $400-500 a month, I think. But I need them for my trading. For other people, that would be ridiculous, and you're looking for a free package. What I suggest is go around, just try everything, and see what is best for you. Okay, Pierre's saying, "What's my name?" My name is Ben Drage, D-R-A-G-E. Hope that helps you, Pierre. Great. Marty says, "Do you trade platinum?" I guess by that, Marty, you mean, do I look at platinum? Yeah, let me just go and show you what we got on platinum. Where are we? Platinum on the daily. Actually, this has been running really nicely. This is platinum daily chart. Initially, we're looking at this red fork to the downside. You can see price moved down here. We got some nice support just above the lower parallel. Let me highlight this line for you so you can see it if I can. There you go. You can see support, all very nice and true there. We also had some really nice resistance here at the median line. You can see this happening here. Touched that, fell away from it, came up and touched it again. However, let me just get rid of that red fork a little bit. We have been looking much more at the blue fork recently. Prices have been in a little bit of an up move. The reason for that principally came from what we were seeing on the weekly chart, and let me just go and show you this. This is a really big chart, not validated, this blue fork at all. Okay, it goes back to 1998, but all I was keeping a little watch on was what was going on at the lower parallel down here, and I just noticed, price was coming down. We'd spent a week or so down at this kind of level, 889, 890, that kind of level, before starting to move up. So what we did is we started thinking maybe there's a bit of an up move coming up in platinum. This is the same level, 888, 889, these sort of levels. Just when we started seeing things move to the upside, started drawing this fork here, as you can see, the blue fork. I think that the clincher for me was this really big, strong bar. As I think I told you, I really like strong, big bars like that. They told me something's going on. They told me something was going on from the median line. From the lower parallel here. Where do we move up to? We move to the median line. We've got resistance. Drop back a little bit to the quartile. Because we got some higher lows, our low was down here at the lower parallel. Next it was up here at the quartile. That, in terms of the fork, is higher. We were anticipating maybe a little bit of a move through the median line of the fork, and that's what we found. So far, we're finding resistance once more in the line of the fork along this sliding parallel. Again, let me just highlight that for you. Resistance, 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 resistance there. Okay. John has said, why do you use on the red fork, not the high? Do you mean on this chart, John? I guess you do. Okay, let me just shift back to the red fork here. And I think John is asking me, why didn't I use this high up here? The easy answer is because it just fitted better when I didn't. Okay, I mean, I'm not being silly. I don't absolutely believe in going by too many rules when you come to pitchforks. Yes, you're trying to look for highs and lows, things that are extremes, but absolutely nothing wrong if this actually works a little bit better. And the fact that we have a big spike up here, and then this next bar, look at this spike down, strong bar. That's pretty much from the high there rather than that high. It just seemed right. I mean, it's very difficult to say. You can see this is kind of lost somewhere in the middle. Whereas if I had it on that high there, it kind of had a bit of a better basis. I have to be honest with you, I don't remember exactly when I probably changed that back. It might have been maybe when we got this median line touch and the bounce there. Okay, because if I move this up, you can see it's kind of a bit beneath and then a strong bar up. I don't remember precisely. I draw probably several hundred pitchforks a day. Some of them work, some of them don't. Obviously, the ones that work go into the service, and we try and follow those. The ones that don't work, or that we adjust maybe a little bit, that will just happen as a natural process. I certainly don't try and what's called curve fit, which means make the forks match the price. It has to be the other way around. Price has to fit in to where the forks tell you they should be. Okay. Simon is saying, do I get full service during the month trial? Yes, you do, Simon. Absolutely everything. Full service. All you have to do is go and click in the box, and it'll be the full service from there on. Okay. Cameron is saying, do I use log charts? No, no, Cam. These are actual numbers. You can see there's no sort of logarithmic on there. But having said that, let me just have a look. I don't know if I've still got this here. I did use it once. Yeah, here we go. This is a log chart. Okay, I think it's probably the first time I ever did it. I saw somebody on Twitter had posted a fork. It was a log chart of the Dow, okay, which is what this is, and basically it was a crap chart. So I thought, I reckon I can do better than that. So there we go. 1982 it started. This is you can see from the right hand side the scale. This is a log chart, and then we go just simple ABC, as you can see, and actually it worked really, really nicely. I was a little bit surprised. You can see the resistance that we got all the way along the median line there. Yeah. You can see the support that we had here, support there. We fell underneath it. It became resistance. We started picking up support at the quartile. That's where we found it before as well, so that's not unexpected. And as prices moved up, even up to the 20,000s, where are we finding resistance? Under the green sliding parallel. Prior resistance here, prior support back here. So it did actually surprise me how well this did work. I mean, this is a very different chart, a log chart, to what you're going to be seeing usually on the Dow on the Dow on the daily. What do we got? We've got something like this, which is running nicely. in the lines of the pitchfork we've got, you can see sliding parallel resistance across there. This is just the ordinary Dow that we're looking at. We're pushing up near resistance 20,140. I'd look for that to be resistance. We're seeing support. The resistance there has become support along here, 19,740 or 19,750. Those are the kind of levels that I'm looking for on Dow. I'm not saying that if we hit that price, we immediately roll to the downside. Okay, that's not how I work. What I do is I look to see what happens when we get there. If we push through it, I then look to see if this starts to become support, in which case we're going to be moving higher in terms of the Dow. Okay, actually, I think I can show you that if we go and have a look at. Look, this is the ES on the weekly. Okay, this is the similar kind of situation. This again, the weekly chart. You can see the resistance that we had along here. In terms of this was back in early 2015, we were looking at that as resistance. December, we fired our way through it. What happened? We come back down. We're now finding support along this prior resistance. Okay, so to me, this chart, as long as we stay above 2240 on a weekly basis, we're still bullish on the ES. Does that help? Cameron? Yeah. Yes. Okay, the small questions coming in. Sal says, do I trade equities? Do I look at equities? Yes, I do. Actually, while we're just on here, actually, this is quite a good one. I was looking at this in mentoring earlier today. This is Goldman Sachs on a weekly basis. Everyone's favorite, I know. Why did 3 people put boo in there? Yeah, strange. Okay. Right, so what do we have here? You've got very clear, you've got a low, you've got a high, you've got another low. In we go, we put the pitchfork in. If we left it in as an Andrews fork, that really wouldn't have helped much at all. So all we do is we turn it into a modified shift like this. It starts to look quite nice. We move up, we start to get a bit of support along the quartile, bit of resistance there, turns to support, that's bullish, price moves up, hits the median line, back to the quartile, start moving up again, we start edging through the median line there. Okay, that's all bullish. Up we go again. Because we pushed above, what do? We start drawing lines, find out where the resistance is, drew it from spike, spike, spike there. We fall all the way down. What do? If we've fallen through the median line was previously support, come to quartile support, we push up. Hey, there's one of those gaps. You remember I talked about that on the ES, was it the ES 60? Yeah, let's go and have a look at that in a minute. There's that little gap there. I said price would, as a result of that gap, of price not being quite so strong, not making it up to the highs, we're going to fall away a little bit. Lo and behold, we did, through the quartile, down to lower parallel support. As you can see, we just poked a little bit beneath it previously. In fact, if I just run off these lows there, you can see pretty exactly caught these lows as well. We start moving to the upside again. Bang, where do we go? We start trying to push above this sliding parallel. So the resistance across here starts to become, we look as though it's becoming support. Again, it starts getting a bit messy here. We're looking for a little bit of direction. All markets are kind of messy at the moment. Great, no problem at all. Or actually, look, you remember what I said about the ES? Let's go and have a look. This is likely to destroy my reputation or not. We're still not underneath it. We're still getting a good reaction from this line. Okay, I said there was a little bit of a gap there, so I'd be nervous if price comes down. Well, you know, still watch, we might get move up and down. We might get resistance at the median line, fall away. I don't know. On the other hand, I could be completely wrong. We could move up there. All I really can say with these lines is this was a likely area of support. We found that support. We're moving a little bit higher from it. Let's just wait and see what happens on that. Okay. Ingo, I was laughing because he was saying, can I look at oil, CL? Oil has been hellish recently. It has been doing virtually nothing. Let's go and have a look at daily oil. This is what we've been following. Again, a fork, you can see the way that we stepped up. You can see that the resistance here we found above the median line of the fork, between the median line and the quartile. Okay, all we did just run a line in the angle of the fork. We found resistance. We've come back down. Look at the strength of these bars. Whoops, let's get that in place. Look at the strength of these bars to the downside from there, you know, and here. Whoops, let's get that. Sorry, I meant to move the arrow, but Ensign isn't running with me. No, it's not running. Look, Really strong move to the downside from that. Tells us that this resistance is still working. At the moment, and this is what I've been pointing out to members, we've got a potentially lowered resistance. We've been running all the way through January with these slightly lowered resistance. Instead of being up here at 56, our resistance is down here at 54. Because of that lowered resistance, we start moving maybe just a little bit to the downside. I'm start getting a little bit wary of that support. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I do see that. I'm not going to go into that at the moment, though. Yep. So that's basically oil. What are we seeing in oil? At the moment, we're seeing lessening strength. Okay, price does not have the strength at the moment to get up to 56.80. When resistance moves down, you tend to worry a little bit about support. So I'm going to see if this price does in fact hold here. This is a daily chart. You know, we can go down to 240 minutes, to 60 minutes, to 20 minutes if you actually want to trade things. Yeah, is that okay, Ingo? Sure. I don't give predictions about where I think oil will go. You know, anything could happen. Trump could start bombing and it could go up to 62, or you know, anything could happen. I don't make predictions. I say this is what the charts show me. These are the levels to watch. If this happens, then that. If the other happens, blah blah blah. So I'm not going to say it's going to go to 20. I'm not going to say it's going to go to 60. I just don't do that. Sorry. Okay. Goldbug, you're back again. Can you show us? Goldbug 20, yeah, 20 minute. He wants to have a look at gold on a shorter time frame, 20-minute chart. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to literally do 2 more charts, and then I'm going to give up, guys, because my voice is going to pieces. Okay, this is what we got on a 20-minute. We're going from this low, A, B, C. As you can see, it's running very, very nicely. What we got is supports and resistances. We've got resistance up at the upper parallel. Price moved all the way down from there, down to the lower parallel. Yeah, we spiked underneath it. But since then, that's the only move that we've had underneath it. Price has stepped up a little bit. A little bit concerning. We had resistance up here at the upper parallel. If we look here, the high that we've got to so far is that the quartile. It's not as high as the upper parallel. Potentially, we're running out of steam just a little bit on the 20-minute chart. If we had the same amount of strength, we'd be up at 1242. We would have found that our resistance. We didn't. We found it down here. And price since then has just drifted away a little bit. In fact, at the moment, the last few bars, we're finding our resistance now at the median line of the fork, 1237. So effectively what you've got here is potentially lowered resistance, 1, 2, 3. That could all change. You know, the next bar that we get could maybe take us up to here, in which case I change my view. You know, I'm not wedded to any particular view. All that I'm saying is that somebody that was taking an entry off this chart would be watching probably the stepping up of support from down here to the sliding parallel there to the quartile, maybe looking to see what happens at the quartile here and just seeing what happens. The fact that we move up to the median line, that if we couldn't get above it, you'd start to be a little bit concerned the price is going to come back down, and you could start to see some lower highs in terms of the fork. Lower highs, lower lows. Okay, you can hear my voice is really going. He's also said, can we have a quick look at silver? I think rather than silver 20, I'll show you silver 60, which again we've been following for a really long time. And I've posted this into Twitter a few times. Okay, that is the complete fork that we're watching. Loads and loads of nuances that you can see. Again, I just don't want to go through absolutely everything because I don't think people want to hear me blathering on about it. But look, the fact that we find lows, yeah, underneath the lower parallel, I don't mind that. We're still running in the line of the fork. You can see this support here picks it up there. A few days later, I mean, this is back at was that the 3rd of January? On the 30th, we come back down. Where do we find support? Or 27th, we come back down. Where do we find support again? The green sliding parallel. Yes, we dip through it. The line is at 1669. The low on that bar is at 1664. That's 5 cents. Since there, we moved up from 1587. You know, it's a heck of a move. Having seen that support step up, what do? We move up to the highs. Where do we see the highs? And you'll notice this line is equidistant from this line to the lower parallel, this line to the upper parallel. That means that we're mirroring around the median line of the fork. Okay, we're running around the middle of the fork, the median line here of the fork. Yeah, and that is still working. What we're seeing at the moment is we're looking to see if we are continuing to step up, if instead of being down here beneath the lower parallel, we found our next support here at the sliding parallel. Are we now moving up a little bit more to the quartile? If we keep pushing up, are we going to go up to this high here? Are we maintaining our strength in the fork? As I said, this is a 60-minute fork. If you see weakness in this, you'll see weakness in the 60-minute before you see weakness in the 240-minute. You'll see weakness in the 240-minute before you see weakness in the daily fork. Great. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've done virtually an hour, I think, and I'm sure you're getting pretty tired of my voice. I hope it's been a bit of an eye-opener to some people, and for those of you that do know a little bit about charts, maybe my approach is slightly different to some other people. If you do feel like giving the service a try, please do. You know, as I say, it's on special offer at the moment, $50 for a month. If you're not happy in the first fortnight, I'm more than happy to give you your money back and send you on your way, hopefully happy with what you learnt. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I've been recording this video. I'm going to put that online. I will send you a link to it in the next couple of hours or so. I'll also send you a link to the website as well. And if you have any further questions or any comments, please don't hesitate to email me. You can get hold of me. Again, I'll put it on the email, but support@forex-analytics.com. With that, I'm going to say thank you very much for attending. I hope it has been of interest, and I'd look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Thanks very much indeed.